We are less than a week away from the trade deadline. At this point, next Friday, it will be August 1st, and all those rosters will be different. But some of them are already starting to take shape. This is Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar, and all content here on STL Sports Central, brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. It's a Fagan Friday. He's Ryan Fagan. I'm Joe Roderick. And Ryan, the trades have begun.
Yeah.
I was upset. I read it wrong the first time. The Mets were the first ones to make a trade today, and I thought they had traded away Soto or whoever the other Gregory Soto. No, I saw that it said Gregory Soto, but I thought, like, God, you could scare a lot of people
with just the headline.
They just say but they traded for Gregory Soto. He went from the Orioles to the Mets, a left-handed pitcher. Yeah. And then as we're just kind of trying to get you up to speed on everything going on. What time, I'm going to look here, what time that tweet was that you had sent to me.
Yeah, I texted you the John Heyman tweet. Yeah.
So at 10:06 this morning, John Heyman sent out a tweet, and I should have thought ahead to put it up on the screen. All-star infielder Brendan Donovan would interest the Yankees if he's available. Many teams would be. Astros too. Unclear how deep Cardinals sale will be.
Yeah.
Which is a whole lot of nothing.
Maybe.
A young all-star utility guy that has, 2-3 years left to control?
2 after this.
Yeah. A lot of people are interested in Brendan Donovan. Bad teams this year would have interest in acquiring a Brendan Donovan. So you read that and you go, okay, who's Heyman working for? Like, who? This isn't Heyman speculating on this. Who
he didn't come up with that out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know John a little bit. I've interacted with him over the years. He's very big on just saying what he hears, right? He's not somebody that's going to take a bit of information, do a lot of research, come back with, here are the scenarios. Mm-hmm. I heard this, I'm going to tweet this, right? And so if you're talking about guys or folks out there who inflame things quickly, he's right up at the top of that. But he's sourced, like that came from somewhere.
Oh yeah,
somebody told him that
a team or an age, like right. And that's where you kind of get the speculation. Okay, the one that the thing that intrigues me with that, like, you could look at that, and I immediately went and looked who Brendan Donovan's agent was. Yeah, like that was the first thing I did. It's not Scott Boras.
Not Scott Boras.
It's the brothers. I looked it up the other day. I don't have it up on my screen right now. But the part where he kind of throws in there Astros too, and I was like, all right, so
everybody,
yeah, like we knew the Astros this offseason, like obviously they had the trade in place for Nolan Arenado before Arenado declined it.
Right.
So you're thinking like, okay, who's out there picking at this? And it's probably a case of, okay, maybe the Astros want to see, like, if there's any kind of bite. It's one of those. It's okay. Can we bring Mo out of hiding? Can we get him out of, can we get him to comment on this in one way or another?
Yeah. It feels like, I mean, from obviously when you're a team that's contending, would you be interested in a guy who hits 300, has a good patience at the plate, plays really good defense, can play multiple positions, can shift around within the last 2 months, and can fill whether you have injuries pretty much no matter where on the diamond? Yeah, of course you're going to be interested. I mean, we talked about one of the first shows this year about how Donovan very closely resembles like Ben Zobrist at his peak, with a little less power, but a guy who can go in and do all of these different things, do them well, and be a big part of a team that's contending. So yeah, of course, it feels like, though, because he has 2 more years of control, 2 more years of arbitration before he's eligible to become a free agent. I mean, quite honestly, this is trading Brendan Donovan is not a decision that John Mozeliak should be making.
No, absolutely not. And that's something Brendan Schaefer and I, not Brendan Donovan and I, Brendan Schaefer and I were discussing this on Wednesday's postgame show. And kind of, we went from, crying and moaning and bitching and everything else after getting shut out by the Rockies to kind of diving into more of a sell mode type thing.
Yeah.
And the big question that you can ask people that are down at Busch Stadium every day, who's in charge of this trade deadline, and who is being consulted on this trade deadline.
Yeah.
The answer to who's running the trade deadline is John Mozeliak.
Yeah.
It's 100% Mo. But when you ask, like, all right, who else is giving their input? Nobody knows.
It's John Mozeliak for a long time has been hey, let's have one voice here, right? And it made sense when he was the voice.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, it was always slightly ridiculous that he was going to be in charge and kind of it's not lame duck in the fact that he was going to be ousted, but it's lame duck that he's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone doubts that he has the best interests of the Cardinals as he sees them.
Right. He's
at
not,
heart.
Yeah, he's not
But
trying
it's
to
weird
go out there and
that he's in control at this point still.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Because because it's one thing to make a decision on a Helsley, a guy who's going to be a free agent, or a Maton and guys like that. But I mean, when you're talking about Brendan Donovan and how Chaim Bloom sees the team in 26 and 27 and and beyond, because if we're talking about potential extensions, I mean, that's a decision that he should be making, unless it's a scenario where a team, and the Yankees kind of maybe fit that mix because they have so many prospects, high level prospects, that they were willing to potentially move. If they were interested in Donovan and came in and said, well, we'll give you Spencer Jones and something else, and you're like, okay, well, maybe that's something you have to do. Now they made the move for Ryan McMahon. So Donovan probably is off the board for the Yankees. But aside from a situation like that, where some team just comes in and gives the Cardinals an offer for Donovan, which probably isn't going to happen, but short of that, he's not a guy who should be moved.
No,
now.
And and you could easily name 6 guys that should be moved, or very well have a high probability of getting moved at the trade deadline, to where if a GM's calling you about Brendan Donovan, you don't have the time for that.
No, you still listen. You absolutely listen, but then if it's a scenario where it's a really good deal, then maybe there's another, hey, Chaim, what do you think about this?
Well, this is, multiple people saying it. You kind of just said it too. And Sir Smokes a lot says, McMahon to the Yankees, dream of Donovan for Jason Dominguez is dead. I really don't care what they do. You said it too, that's probably out of the running for that, because I don't think the Yankees are done. I don't think just because they went and got Ryan McMahon, they're done, because I feel like you could still go, that's kind of a landing spot for an Arenado. Phillies or Yankees would be a spot if he waived his no trade and he goes there. He's going to play third. He's playing some of the best third that we've seen in a long, long time.
If the Yankees are looking to add something else to the infield, right, it's probably looking at making a replacement of Volpe,
right,
at shortstop, who has not hit this year. He's not become, look,
and the defense has been so sloppy for the Yankees too.
Right, the expectations on Volpe were ridiculous coming up in the minor leagues. That spring training he had.
Any shortstop for the next decade or two coming into the Yankees is going to have ridiculous expectations.
And then he had the hot spring. He had he had the hottest. He and Jordan Walker and was the spring of 22 were just like incredible, and they were going to be the next great big things for the respective squads. He hasn't done that. So if they're going to make some upgrade there, because you still have Jazz at second base, Goldschmidt at first, and then Volpe and McMahon will slot in a third, even though McMahon can play other positions as well. But if they're going to make another sort of addition there, shortstop, and I don't think they're going to do it, but shortstop would be the target, I think. And Donovan can play shortstop, but he's not a full-time shortstop. Same thing with McMahon.
And at this point, though, if the Yankees, who are on just such a bad slide right now, and every night there seems to be another highlight of a really bad defensive play.
My gosh, it's Keystone Cops out there, sometimes.
It's getting ugly, and that can't continue to happen in New York of all places. So when you do see that happening over and over and over again, it's, do they care who's at, like, if Brendan Donovan doesn't have the range to play short, like, do they care? Like, as long as he's making the throw,
I still think at a certain point, because I still think so. I think that takes him out of Arenado and Donovan. I do.
I would think so as well with that, but I'm just saying, like, I do think, though, there were reports, and the other trades too, by the way. We told you Gregory Soto, the lefty from the Orioles, he goes to the Mets. Ryan McMahon goes from the Rockies to the Yankees. Also, the one that happened overnight, Josh Naylor goes from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. So trades are happening.
Yeah, and
the trades have begun. If you're waiting for Thursday afternoon, you might be left without a dance partner at this point, because we might see a whole lot of activity this weekend.
And it's interesting that when you look at the teams that have made the moves, right? The Orioles traded Soto. The Orioles are a team that are going to have other pieces that they're going to move to. The Diamondbacks, everyone was kind of wondering what are they going to do, and then they came out of the break, obviously played real well against the Cardinals, and people are like, well, maybe they will kind of regroup, see what they can do. You're trading Josh Naylor. You're not doing that. So they're signaling they're going there. And then they have Suarez, they have Gallen, they have all these Merrill Kelly, all these other pieces. So it's this fine line between being the first one to set the price, the market in front, and then but you can do that and get big returns early, or you can kind of wait and hope other teams panic and give you more. That's a risky proposition, because we see every year players that like legitimately good impact players that we expect to get moved don't get moved because GMs are waiting for panic offers that just don't happen.
And that's kind of when you look at the Cardinal roster and you look at, we mentioned that 6 or 7 that they might have. It's who's going to bring you the biggest return. Like, who is the most important piece to trade away? And I think that's Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley, I think, is far and away like the number one. Like he's the one that needs to be traded away. You're going to get somebody decent out of that. So like the move, the one that the Ryan McMahon trade that just happened, the Yankees sent their number 8 prospect and their number 21 prospects to the Rockies for that. Both guys are in high A ball right now, so neither one is going to make any kind of impact soon.
And going to Colorado, probably never.
Right. But if you are the Cardinals and you're trading Ryan Helsley and you are trying to sell to fans that you're not rebuilding, you're not tearing it down, you need somebody that should be on the roster in 2026.
Ideally, yes, but I don't think that's I would hope that that's not a deal breaker, because I think when you're looking at how you're going to build over the next couple years, because yes, they have the pieces that they could compete if things go right in 26. Of course they do. But if you're looking at the best return, the highest upside is a guy who's in high A right now, and he has an ETA of 27, maybe even 28 if he's high enough prospect, which I kind of doubt that they would get in that scenario. I still think you have to look at it, right? And then you just have to be more aggressive in kind of backfilling that spot in the off season, signing reliever arms, doing all these different things, making trades. But I think if the best return you get is a guy that's not going to be in the majors until 27, best case scenario, you have to consider it.
Throwing it out there, this is something we were talking about before the show too, about who brings you back the most. And Samuel throws out there saying Donovan brings back the most value in return. Helsley is the biggest asset. Expiring. That's kind of what you said too. And I know Matt Rocchio was on his way out the door, and he kind of threw out there like Herrera or Wynn probably bring you back the most.
Probably. But if you're looking
I still don't know either. I mean, because there you're just selling on potential of 2 really young guys, where Donovan is more established.
And that's the thing, is if you're looking at the returns the teams are looking to acquire for 25, right? It's Brendan Donovan, because he's more consistent. He's a better bat than Mason Wynn. Now, is he going to be over the next 5 years? I'm high on Mason Wynn, and I'm high on Donovan too. But I think Wynn could be that type of guy. But if you're talking about
a Gold Glover
25
position,
right? With
where
what Donovan is,
multiple,
I think he's the guy. He is the guy that other teams would most want to add. If we're looking at,
I mean, every team right now that's in the playoff race would benefit from getting a Brendan Donovan. Like you just find somewhere to put.
It's like, you look back at when the Royals made their run and they acquired Zobrist. Every team wanted Ben Zobrist, and I think there was a lot of shock around baseball that the Royals are the team that went out and did it.
Yeah,
right. Because they went out and made that move. They brought in Zobrist, they brought in Johnny Cueto, and they did these things that helped lift them to where they got to. And that's why. And after he did that, that's why when the Cubs got Zobrist in front of the run in 16. That's why it was seen as such a big deal. I mean, Donovan is that same type of player. He's not like, again, he doesn't have quite the power that Zobrist did, not a 20-25 home run guy, but I mean, the line shot he hit off Yu Darvish yesterday certainly was it was a frozen rope that got over the stands, into the stands.
Yeah, but I think I saw first time in 20 years they hit 2 3-run home runs in the same inning. Yesterday, were you in the press box for that last?
Yeah, I was sweltering. Yeah. I even brought.
So I was at the game last night. It started off. So my son's a huge Fernando Tatis Jr. fan.
He had a big game.
We have been trying to get to a game to see Fernando for 3 years now, 4 years. We've gone to San Diego. All over the place. He has either been hurt or suspended.
Oh man!
Because you look at the injuries that he's had recently and the suspension that he had. So last night was the first time we have been to at least 10 Padres games.
Wow!
Since whenever Fernando was on the cover of the show, that's when he became his favorite player. That we have gone to. So I think that was 3 shows ago. I think that was this year. This year was 3. Last year was Jazz Chisholm. Year before that was Fernando. So at least 10 Padres games that we've been to, he has never once.
Well, he had to be happy then.
Him play. I did tell him as we were walking into the game, I go, "Hey, have you seen the lineup yet for tonight?" And
that's so mean. That's so mean. I mean, funny, but mean.
I didn't keep him on the hook too long with that. But yeah, he was happy. He got to see him and Machado both homer last night, and then the Cardinals win, which makes Dad's job a little easier in the long run too. But they had this giveaway last night. The Ozzie Smith
the upside down bobblehead.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Bobblehead. I got to tell you though, I was slightly upset because when I saw the design for it, I thought it did a full 360.
Oh yeah.
I thought that. So Cardinal marketing department next time around, put it in the powder blue and make it available to go all the way around, and you'll have even more people trying to leave with
spinning
garbage
bobblehead.
bags. Yeah, with garbage bags full of them before the game to put on eBay.
Yeah,
that'll. This one, I want to throw this comment up on the screen. I'm going to scroll back a bit for it, where Richard Crouch chimes in. He says, "I really think Cardinals should at least sign Maton to a 2-year deal, keep him for next year in case we need a closer. Hopefully, have him in 27 to set up guys like him are very valuable." I cannot disagree with that more because. But I will say this, would I like to have Phil Maton in the bullpen for the next 2 years? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But right now you signed him for $2 million this offseason. You can go out there and trade him and get something pretty damn good, I would think, for him down the stretch. Like, there are a lot of teams that are in the playoff race right now that could use a Phil Maton in their 7th innings.
Yep.
Go out there, make that trade, see what you get back in return. He's a free agent in the offseason. Go out there in the offseason again next year and say, "Hey, Phil, you want to come back and do this again? Like, did you have a good few months here? Like, we'd love to have you back." So try that.
And even as you're trading him, say, "Hey, we really, really, really want you back.
Yeah. And
we know you've liked it here. But if we trade you now, get something in return, then your next couple years could possibly be better." Yeah,
exactly.
I get that. And but to Richard's point, he can be a big part of the team going forward. But yeah, extending him at the moment, keeping and extending him is not the optimal way to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say too, you have a real chance here with Helsley, with trading Helsley. You have a chance here to find who that next closer is.
Yeah.
And go and, okay, Granillo, like, you got strikeout stuff. Let's see what it looks like in the 9th. Let's see what it looks like when you have the pressure on you, and give him that opportunity
to
do that. Graceffo, you've looked good out of the bullpen. what does closing look like, and give him that opportunity. And I think you have other your arms aren't that deep in Memphis, and Springfield, but see what you got down there.
Yeah, and it's a closer by committee for the last 2 months of the season, and not necessarily even like setting it up to who's going to be your closer, but there's just who's available, right? It's a next up kind of scenario where if you haven't thrown in a couple of days and the scenario pops up and it's there, then it's your turn to get a chance at closing. I mean, it would be a good value for the Cardinals to look and see what they have.
Yeah,
going forward.
You have all these arms down there that are so unproven and have been hurt.
I mean, baseball history is, well, not history, but in the modern era of baseball, it's full of guys who became closers who were not supposed to be closers, because you never know how guys will react to those situations. Some guys put their best stuff up when it matters the most. They may struggle in other times. They may not be that guy, but they'll come in. I'm not saying they're going to develop into all-star closers, but a guy is sometimes more value. And we see it the opposite way all the time, where a guy has stuff melts down in the ninth inning. So I think people kind of tend to think that's the way it happens, but it does happen the other way as well.
Who's the last closer that got drafted?
There have been some.
Ben Joyce?
Yeah, I was going to say Ben Joyce comes to mind. Of course, when you're throwing 115 miles an hour at Tennessee, that'll kind of earmark you there. But yeah, he's, it doesn't happen a lot, but more so in the last several years, you'll see guys drafted as relievers, because it's becoming a bigger thing in college, where teams want to put their guys in those positions, and the more those guys get drafted, the more it's going to happen. Because in the past, if you weren't a weekend starter, a Friday night starter in college ball, you probably weren't looked at as a potential high draft pick. But now we're seeing guys like Joyce, go in the first round, and others have done the same thing. So I think you're going to see more of them going forward. And these are the guys that have a better chance of getting to the majors quickly as well.
I'm kind of just scrolling through here as we go, and just seeing if there are any other possible moves that have been made since we started this show about 20 minutes ago or so. And I agree. Thomas chimes in here and says he doesn't want to see Donovan get traded. He's always going to have somewhere to fill in, and that's kind of my, one of the things we were talking about too before the show was, if the Cardinals trade offensively, if they trade somebody from the offensive side, it's going to be a left-handed bat. Brendan Donovan's a left-handed bat.
Yeah.
Alec Burleson's a left-handed bat. But I think that you're looking at Lars Nootbaar, Nolan Gorman as the two most tradable. And I just think either one of those guys gets traded, Donovan kind of slides in anywhere, and that kind of then opens up a lane for JJ Weatherholt.
Right. And to an extent, Sagasi and it kind of, it opens that up.
Mm-hmm.
The log, I don't want to call it a log jam, but the potential crowding they have in those infield spots.
Yeah. I guess Randy said that today. He said Herrera or Weatherholt, put them in the outfield. I mean, Weatherholt's open to it. Weatherholt's open to just, he said, put me wherever.
Yeah.
And whatever's the quickest way to get me to the big leagues I'll do it.
Yeah. Keith Law, and it's been talked on different shows here, but like Keith Law with The Athletic, he's talking about Weatherholt, and he loves JJ Weatherholt's bat. He's like, you just got to find a spot to get him in there.
Yeah.
He could be in multiple positions. And, Herrera is it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason with him as far as position wise, because it seems pretty clear that they don't see him as a catcher in the future.
Right.
But it's also abundantly obvious that he needs to be in the lineup every day.
And I was so happy to see last night what he did, because I was starting to get worried.
Yeah.
I was, the batting average had dropped like 20 points, and there were some at bats that weren't looking great. The first one, I don't know how good of a look you had at it. It's like I'm sitting first base side yesterday in that first at bat against Darvish, you could so you're like, okay, like what pitch was that? Like, what did he just throw to him there? Because Herrera looked like he had never seen a pitch like that before. And thankfully, the pitching ninja, Rob Friedman, posted a video
73-mile-an-hour curveball.
Yeah.
What? Honestly, when I saw that, I just thought, oh, that's Darvish. Like, it didn't even occur to me who was hitting me. You're just like, oh, yeah, that's a Darvish. Yes. Completely fooled somebody. It was a 73-mile-an-hour curveball. That's what it was. Yeah.
And that's what I figured too. I'm just like, okay, that's you, Darvish, just toying with a 24-year-old,
right?
Screwing around with them.
Yeah.
And it was right. Like, but there was a moment where like, is he really like not seeing the ball? Like, is he having this hard of a time? And then he went out there and had a pretty good game last
right.
night,
Yeah. And went the opposite way, hit the line drive. Yeah.
I didn't see what JJ Weatherholt did last night in Memphis, but his 8 games so far in AAA leading up to yesterday, hitting 379 with a 1420 OPS. And
that's okay.
Runs. Yeah, that'll play AAA for sure. So that's fun to see with that, but don't expect him up here until September this year. That sucks, but
yeah.
Oh well.
That's fine.
He didn't play last. Somebody says he did not play last night. So multiple people. I love about you guys. You guys are locked into that. To that Memphis
the chat
team.
Is your new Google. Your Memphis Google.
I love being able to throw out a question like that, and I don't have to go through and dig up the minor league website to go look at a box score from last night. So much appreciated to the few of you that chimed in there and came in there and said that and helped me out with that. That's really, really nice to be able to have. Hey, this is Cards Central 365. We are powered by our friends over at Gray Bar. And if I can bring up my copy of the new DraftKings spot from this past week, I'd also tell you that all of our content here is brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. And that's going to have to wait for a little later on in the show because I have to dig it up while we vamp on
nice
on something else. Yeah, that's I thought I had it open here right on the screen and I did not. So
good job, Joe.
It was, I know, yeah, poor planning on on my part for that. People just the continuing of throwing out there. Somebody else mentioned trading for Alejandro Kirk. The Blue Jays are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. They're not trading Alejandro Kirk.
No,
that's not happening for them. But I would say that an offensive catcher, I just don't think that's in the cards for this year. But I think that will be a giant sticking point for next season is upgrading the catcher position.
And we'll see. I think, because when you look at Herrera, and I know he had his shortcomings, I think the biggest issue with him as catcher now is just the durability thing. Mm-hmm. And you look at if his long-term position is catching and he is dedicated to improving and he, because he's not great, obviously, but he's better than he was. And I think there was some improvement this year when he was back there, but he's so important to that lineup that has to be the priority. And just keeping him in there. And that's where, DH, with Contreras at first base, he's not gonna, I mean, you take ground balls there in spring training, but you're not planning on that.
No.
And I mean, outfield still, I mean, I guess you work on it and you do things potentially. I'm just not sure.
I do think, outfield does seem like it's going to be where he's going to be playing and going that when he's down in Jupiter.
It's the most likely.
Yeah.
But I still think best case scenario is he DHs half his games and
100%.
Corner. Yeah. Half. Yeah.
Yeah. You just stick him out in right field once or twice a week for that. Like, obviously, if he were to catch any more this season, like they would be one of those scenarios where it would just be like kind of throw them out there for that. Hey, I have the DraftKings copy all ready to go now. So we are happy to tell you that now that nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching baseball the simplest way. And it was hot last night. Oof. You guys have the windows open up there?
They did, but I've got this little like portable fan that I keep in my bag, plug it into the laptop and set it literally like 6 inches from my face.
Who's making the decision to keep the windows open up there?
I was sitting over on the side where the Padres beat was, and they all sat down. So
Oof.
And Lynn Worthy from the Posted Bass came over and we were chatting. He's like, "Why do they have the windows down?" I'm like, I don't know, dude.
I thought I
It
saw the
wasn't my
windows
call.
open up there, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
somebody made a bad choice on this. Hey, the simplest way to get on the action is to download the Pick Six app from DraftKings. Crazy simple. You just pick more or less on a stat for two or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And Pick Six is available right here in Missouri. I used the Pick Six app last night because I had crossed over the river and realized I was in Missouri before I walked into the game. So you can use that Pick Six app right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun and don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick Six. And right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
We will, by the way, before we get into the game tonight, the games this weekend, just want to remind everybody, let everybody know that right here on STL Sports Central, that anytime whenever a move is made over the next week, whether that's just sometime this weekend or leading up to all of it next week, we will have Card Central instant reaction for you. We'll go live with that. Planning on doing a live show next week at is it 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. for the trade, though? It's 5 p.m. Eastern, right?
I think it's 5 Eastern.
5 Eastern.
Yeah.
So we will be live, ready to go at 4 p.m. Central next week when the trade deadline hits, unless Cardinals make a move before then we'll be on for that as well, but getting you all of the latest trade deadline news and notes on Card Central instant reaction next week. So, at any point over the next 6 days for that as well.
It'll be interesting.
You'll just jump on your phone and you'll talk about whatever.
Hold it up like that.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's that.
Nobody needs to see it that close up. But
so tonight, Miles Michaelis goes. So Wednesday on the show, after getting shut out by the Rockies, I threw up there. I threw up in a poll on the YouTube chat. I went into the YouTube chat. I went in and you can make your own poll questions on there too, if you ever want to play around when you have it open in the show. And I said, if the Cardinals sweep the Padres, will you be back in? Like, will that will that bring you back in? 89% of the people said no.
Wow,
that a 4-game sweep over the Padres was not going to be enough for Cardinal fans to go, you know what? All right, you got me back in. I'm ready to go for that wild card spot. 89% said no.
I'm surprised at that number.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
I
too.
agree.
I'm ready to buy back in after last night's win.
I know you are. That offense looked good. I mean, I know Darvish has struggled this year.
Yeah,
but it's still the way to go.
I get that it's still the way to go.
The worry would be that when you look at the return of the past couple of moves that they've made, it hasn't been great. And I'm not even talking about Fetty. I still think because they were never going to re-sign Tommy Edman to an extension, I think getting Fetty for and Pham for Tommy Edman, I think it was a win for the Cardinals. I really do, and I don't care how bad Fetty was to the point that it was DFA'd. It was still a good move for the Cardinals.
And
at the time, it turned out because of what they were giving. They were giving up an asset that had no value to them. Right. And I know the fact that Tommy Edman went on to be like Superman in the postseason was that made it look bad. But the worry, though, I mean, the return for Dolan Carlson wasn't anything, and I think that is the worry, that you trade guys away and get nothing back. Right. So it needs to be. You need to get some sort of value. You're going to see
Drew Rom, and it's like, okay, I liked him at first, and then it's like, cool, he's probably never going to throw a pitch again.
Yeah,
in the big leagues. earlier today, we were kind of going over, when they had that fire sale a few years ago, Claibs and I were talking about just going back and forth. I'm like, you realize from that, like that year when they traded away all those guys, if you look at the last couple of years, like John King is probably the biggest return that they have gotten back. Like Thomas Sajaci might have a bigger role on the team in the future.
And Roby too.
But like John King has performed at the best level of any of the moves that they've made in the last like 3 years.
Yeah, which is, again, when I talk about the worry is that you trade these guys because you feel like you have to, and then don't get anything that brings the value back to the organization in the short term or the long term. I think that would be the worry, but I still think, and with Helsley, they could, it's not like they would get nothing for him if they don't trade him, because he's still worth a qualifying offer. Like he's on that borderline, but I still think it would be a no-brainer to extend that to him. If he accepts it, great. And if he doesn't, great. But you still get something for him, because I think what's the value? He would have to get like a contract worth $50 million on as a free agent to bring back something in terms of draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the exact number because it changes depending on where the revenue, all that stuff. But he certainly would be in line to get that.
Are you surprised that they said they wouldn't do a qualifying offer for him?
I still think they should.
Right.
And there's
he
still time.
Be here, but it's a different.
But I'm saying you can get something for him though.
Right.
Yeah.
What was I? Somebody had pointed out Edmund hitting a Lars Nootbaar like 227 this year.
Yeah, he had that hot start. He hit 4 or 5 home runs in the first like week and a half, and it looked like he was going to be. He's cooled off. Yeah.
The Cardinals tonight, Miles Mikolas 5-7 on the year with a 5.20 ERA. If you had to pick right now, would you rather have Miles Mikolas or Eric Fetty going for you? You have to pick you have to keep one of them in your rotation. Obviously, they already made the move with Fetty, so you know what the Cardinals picked. If you had to make one,
I mean, when we talked a couple weeks ago, I said I think that Fetty would give more value in August and September. Mm-hmm. After I said that, that's when he'd had 2 bad starts,
right?
And I'm honestly surprised he fell apart the way he did. He's a guy who'd gone through a lot in his career. Going overseas, coming back, and reestablishing value. I don't want to say he wasn't mentally tough enough to handle it, but I was surprised the way it went south so quickly.
And this is where you kind of, we mentioned it before. If you've been watching most of the show, we kind of threw out there the idea of there being 6 or 7 guys that should be on the trading block for the Cardinals. Steven Matz's name is one of those. In fact, I said I sent out, we're putting together a kind of a prediction of where certain guys on the Cardinals might go. You'll see that over the weekend or on Monday on the STL Sports Central socials, where all of our baseball people will kind of give their predictions of who's going to go where, or if they're going to stay. And Steven Matz's name is on that list because Steven Matz is in the last year of a 4-year deal and not going to cost whoever acquires him that much money, and has pitched really well this year. I don't want Steven Matz to be traded. That's the one that I'm kind of looking at. Like, I'd rather you traded John King, you traded JoJo, you trade any of those guys. Steven Matz is the one that I think that you keep, because right now, so Eric Fetty's been DFA'd. Michael McGreevy is in the rotation. If a starter, let's say Miles Mikolas leaves today's game with an injury, who replaces him in the rotation?
Kyle Leahy. Ollie hinted at that yesterday in the pregame.
Did he?
Yeah. Because he went 3 1/3. Yeah. So he had 4 up and downs, and so he was asked how he was going to treat that, and he said, "Well, he was out yesterday. He wasn't available yesterday. Right. They were going to get to the ballpark today. He was going to throw, and they'll see how it is." And when somebody hinted at it, I forget who it was. It wasn't me, but somebody hinted at it, and
Schaefer wouldn't have been there yet. But I know he's big on Leahy being a starter.
Yeah, Ollie was like, yeah, it's part of he's part of the equation. So I think, obviously it wouldn't be a scenario where they were like, he's going to go out and throw 7 innings at any point this year. But it's a scenario where you could see if depth is tested, and if they have to find somebody else to step in, if it's not one of the guys from the minor leagues getting called up to just fill in, it could be a scenario where they ask Kyle Leahy, can you give us 60 pitches? Can you get, because he threw 49, I think, and can you give us 50 to 60 pitches, and then we'll go from there. So not like an opener like we've seen a lot in baseball, but I think he's that guy. I think he's ahead of Matz.
He's getting you to a bridge, a situation. That's what he's getting you to another long reliever.
Yeah,
that's I after seeing what he did in Colorado, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's something worth trying. I don't know if you send him down to Memphis and give him a start down there first.
I would imagine. I mean, he didn't say that, but I would imagine that wouldn't be part of it.
Do you think he just goes?
That's me guessing.
Okay, yeah,
that's my speculation.
And again, that's also if a starter goes down, or Michaelis again just is blown up again.
Right. And Ollie did not want to talk about those in any sort of like certain terms because of it's just you don't talk about that.
And that's where I kind of stand with Matz on that, where I think Matz is that guy ready to go right now. Where if you have a starter that comes up, feels some tightness in his pregame, okay, hey, Matz, you're starting.
And I think that's kind of how they look at Leahy right now. And and they didn't say this based on the way that things have been going and the fact that they gave him that fourth up in the game against Colorado. I doubt that was a surprise to Leahy that he was being asked to do that. I'm sure they've been talking about that. He's been working towards it. And I think that was the first in-game evidence of what they have kind of played, because it's been talked about so much that they don't have that depth. They don't have anybody necessarily in AAA. They've got a couple of guys that have been better lately, but they don't have anyone that's going to step into the rotation and get 8-9 starts in August and September.
Mary chimes in and says Graceffo. I think right now that Graceffo is one of your options to be a closer if Helsley gets traded.
Looking at 25,
yeah,
and 26. That could be a different scenario, but I think, going forward, he would be in that.
Yeah. And somebody points out, if you send Leahy down, he has to stay down 15 days. Yeah, that's at least 2 starts that you're giving him down in and that's what I'm saying. That's why I say you go down there and stretch him out and say, hey, we're going to see how you go with 4 innings today. Like you're going out there, you're going 4 innings or, as you said, 60 pitches, and we're going to go from there with that. And I think, that's something you go down, you test in Memphis for those 15 days. So that's why
and
threw that out there.
Thomas said, Matz and Leahy is a bullpen game. You say, can we get 80 pitches out of these two guys and then see where we are in the game, and then you decide whether you're going with Maton, Reyes, Matz, or Riley O'Brien in different scenarios.
And going out there too, you can get a good return from. You can get a good return for Matz, but if we're ranking who's bringing back the best returns, I think Helsley and Maton probably are bringing back better returns than
they are.
Matz.
But I mean, if they traded Matz, I think this sounds bad. Long term, it doesn't matter. I'm not sure that the return that they get back is going to be the impact unless they really have scouted somebody, other systems, and be like, okay, we really like this guy who has had bad numbers but good peripheral numbers, and they target somebody, and and they've done that before, and teams do that all the time. But also, if Matz is not with the team over the last 2 months, I don't think it makes a huge difference. And I know that sounds bad to say.
Yeah. Looking at this, Buster Only just tweeted, this was a minute ago. The Astros' best fit and what they seek in a hitter is someone who could play second base or left field. So I'm just gonna
throw that out there.
Huh. With just absolutely
for no reason.
Do we end the show with me saying that?
Man, I mean, again, even the fact that Heyman tweeted that means that doesn't mean the Cardinals have any intention of moving Donovan, but that means somebody asked, and because somebody asked, somebody else is going to ask. I would be shocked. I would be surprised, but not shocked. No, I'd be shocked if they traded him. But I can imagine a scenario where somebody, especially if there's an injury between now and the deadline,
right,
somewhere else.
So, All right, have fun with everything this weekend. As far as the trade deadline goes, Cardinals and Padres, and once they sweep the series, I am back in on it. Well, I already am, but once that is, maybe a few of you join me as well with the Cardinals being back in the playoff race. Are you going down to any other games this weekend?
Probably not this weekend. Yesterday just lined up pretty well. Yeah,
I'm taking him to all 4 this weekend.
that's good.
Yeah,
It's hot.
yeah.
You need to buy one of those like little portable fans.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of those in the stands.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I'm bringing in the biggest water bottles they'll allow me to bring in. Multiple ones at that. It's still not lasting me the
I went
game.
through so much water from like the little fountain in the press box.
Yeah,
just the water with the ice.
You just go grab the bottles in there.
It could, but I wanted to put the ice cubes in it because if you get the bottles, then they get warm real quick. Yeah. Okay. Come on, man.
I don't know. I think I might go down. Yeah, next week will be an interesting week. Looking forward to bringing you any kind of instant reaction here on STL Sports Central. That's going to do it for us today. Post-game show tonight. Brendan and Stefan are on that one after the Cardinals game. It's an early start time too. So remember, if you are going down to the game tonight, it is a 6:15 start time. And if you have tickets and you're going down tonight, you could stick around after the game. Flo Rida is performing after the game. That's why it's a 6:15 start time, so they can get
and not
get
so they can
Flo.
Intentionally have another 45 minutes in the hotter.
No, yeah, 100%. So Flo can be out there singing after the game.
Yeah,
so that's part of the concert series. So make sure you get down there. 6:15 first pitch tonight. Miles Michaelis versus Nick Pivetta. 10-2 with a 2.81 ERA on the season. He's Ryan Fagan. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been another edition of Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar, and all content here on STL Sports Central is brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.